Hello, children. Welcome back to the English class. I hope you are all doing good. Today, we are going to deal with a new chapter from the book Snapshots. The name of the chapter is The Address. It is written by Marga Minco. So, before moving on to the chapter, let us have a look at the backdrop of the story, which is related to the Holocaust. I hope you are all familiar with this term. The word Holocaust comes from ancient Greek and means burnt offering. So, even before the Second World War, the word was sometimes used to describe the death of a large group of people. But since 1945, it has become almost synonymous with the murder of the European Jews during the Second World War. The Holocaust has a number of causes. Its direct cause is the fact that the Nazis wanted to exterminate the Jews. Between 1933 and 1939, the Nazis made life in Germany increasingly impossible for the Jews. Jews fell victim to discrimination, exclusion, robbery, and violence. At that point, the main goal of the Nazis was to remove the Jews from Germany by allowing them to emigrate. To encourage them to do so, they took away their livelihoods. Jews were no longer allowed to work in certain professions. Jews were forbidden to marry non Jews. Jews also lost their citizenship, which officially turned them into second class citizens with fewer rights than non Jews. This particular chapter, The Address, begins after the Holocaust when our narrator, a Jewish survivor, or our author Marga Minco, who had lost her entire family, had returned to find her mother's belongings. We are going to deal with the chapter titled The Address. In this chapter, The Address, the narrator, the author herself, speaks about her experiences. Let us have a look at the biography of Marga Minko before moving into the chapter. You can see the image of Marga Minko. So she was a Dutch journalist and writer. She was born in 1920 in the village of Gieneken, southwest of Netherlands, in a Jewish family. So one important thing or one interesting thing is that she had her real name as Sarah Menko, but an official accidentally switched the first vowel E into I. Hence, she was called as Marga Minko later on. As a young girl, Marga, along with her Jewish parents, moved to Breda, a town near her birthplace. As a child, Marga hated her Jewish identity and often wished that she was like other non Jewish children. In the year 1938, Marga Minko began to work at the local newspaper as a film reporter, but later joined the editorial desk. As a result of the persecution of Jews, she was dismissed from the post and she went to Amsterdam. She became a drawing teacher at a Jewish elementary school in Amsterdam. Later in the war, Minko's parents, her brother, and her sister were deported. But Sarah escaped arrest and spent the time in hiding. She was the family's sole survivor. She also received a new name, Marga Face, after this event, the first part of which she continued to use. Hence, she is now called as Marga Minko. During the early 1950s, she published short stories in various magazines and the newspapers. Minko was inspired by her experiences during the war, and her first short novel, Bitter Herbs, is a painful story of a young girl during World War II. So I hope you have now got an overview about Marga Minko, how she changed her name and what is the background of her family and how her works reflected her experiences. So in this story, the address will look at the experience of our narrator as a Jewish person who is going back to get her mother's belongings. Let us look at this chapter in detail in the next module. Thank you all.